From KCTV5, local, live, this is Kansas City on the Record.
Welcome in this Sunday morning, and thank you for joining us for Kansas City on the Record. I'm Brad Stevens. We work to break down the biggest stories facing our area each and every week, and nothing has a bigger impact on the future of our region than schools. In Kansas City, Wednesday, April 8th, marked exactly 1 year since voters went to the polls and overwhelmingly approved the first bond in almost 60 years. It invests $474 million into improvements across the district and costs taxpayers about $232 a year. In exchange, the district is repairing and making upgrades to every school, including classrooms, security, air conditioning systems, and more. It will also add 2 new school campuses, reopen the old Southwest High School building as a middle school, and more. The bond may be the biggest project the school district has ever taken on and comes just 4 years after it regained full accreditation, something it was stripped of back in 2011. Overseeing it all is Superintendent Dr. Jennifer Collier. She got the job back in 2023 and received a contract extension to remain until at least 2028. So we put her on the record to check in on the district's progress as she works to turn a historic vote into reality. First of all, thank you very much, Superintendent, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to meet you and to talk about what is so important, our kids' education in the Kansas City area. And so we invited you on to talk today about, it's been a year. Roughly a year since that bond passed for
Yes.
Kansas City Public Schools. Let's start there. What can you tell if the viewers this morning who are watching, and if some of the viewers have kids in the Kansas City Public School District, what did that bond mean for the school system and for parents and for kids?
I think the passage of this bond means so much for the entire community, whether you're a parent, a student, an employee, or a community member that may not even have school-age children. I think it represented a new day in Kansas City. It represented folks who truly believe in the power of education and folks that were willing to commit to investing in the children in this community. That has not always been the case for Kansas City Public Schools, and so I think it was a very symbolic passage. It showed that it's a new day, that we have changed the trajectory of Kansas City Public Schools. We are a district that is succeeding, improving every year, growing, and on our way to becoming a destination school district.
Let's talk about what changed, because this was the first bond to pass since 1967, I believe. That is correct. For KCPS, and then it passed overwhelmingly. Almost 87% of the voters voted for this. What happened? What changed?
Well, I think there's a lot that has been happening over the years really to work to improve our school system, and not just so that we can enhance community trust and support, but really doing what is right by the children in this community. I think the first thing we did is really focusing on improving academics, doing enough to regain our accreditation. There's a lot of work that went in behind the scenes to improve the experiences that our kids are having and to improve outcomes. Since that time, regaining the accreditation, we've also worked to enhance programming, to put a clear academic vision in place, because what we did not want to do was to regain accreditation and then just stop there, or to think that we've reached the goals that we have set for ourselves. We know that we can do more, we can do better, and so we're continuing to focus on that improvement.
What do you say to a voter who voted for the bond, and then they say a year later, they say, well, where's my proof? What are you doing with that money? What can you show me? What tangible evidence can you show me that this bond that passed is now working?
So of course it takes time before you begin to see all the work being put in, although it has already begun. For many who may not know, one of our first brand new buildings will be our King Elementary Empowerment Center. That building is currently going up. If you drive by on Indiana, 42nd in Indiana, you can see that building is coming up. The work is going into that. But we're also making improvements in other schools across our district. A part of that first phase will be Border Star Montessori, Wendell Phillips, Hale Cook is currently being worked on. Also, the beginning phases for Central High School. So while while we don't see a finished product now, the work is going in to these mini buildings. And one of the commitments that we made, because we had not passed a bond in so long, we didn't feel that it would be right to direct all of our funds into only one area or one school. All of our schools needed some enhancements and support. So every school will receive a minimum of a $5 million investment. So that's going to take time to do as we're working on every building in the district. We can't do it all at once, but we have begun to phase them out.
What does that mean for students and parents and faculty to see real bricks and mortar change or work that is happening within the school district that maybe they haven't seen in a while? What does that do for the mindset of everyone involved?
I think it's really life-changing for our children once again to know that folks were willing to invest in their learning environments. I think a lot of times we send kids unintended messages, and when we demonstrate that we're going to update their facilities, that lets them know that we value them, they're important to us, and that their education matters to us. As superintendent, I conduct student town halls at every high school twice a year. And prior to this bond passage, I would hear regularly from our students about the quality and the condition of their buildings. I know firsthand what the buildings were like because I taught in this district for 10 years. I taught 10 years at Northeast High School, and I remember the condition of the building then. And of course, now as superintendent, visiting many buildings, I can see their current conditions. And our students ask the question, why? Especially as they're going out to other school districts for debate, for swim meets and football, all the different activities that they're in, robotics. They're seeing these state-of-the-art buildings in other school districts.
Kids notice.
Oh yes, they notice. And they've come back to ask, why do our buildings look this way? But with the passage of this bond and with work beginning to happen, it sends a very clear message to our kids that they matter. And we're not just telling them that they matter. We're moving beyond just giving them this verbal explanation. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're demonstrating that they are important to us and that their learning, their future matters to us.
You've talked about the progress. You've talked about the momentum. You've talked about the hard work that it's going to take to get to where you want to get to.
Yes.
What still has to happen? You had the bond approved. Money helps, but money doesn't solve everything. But there are still some struggles, or there are still some things that the district struggles with. Can you talk about those things?
Well, I think some of the struggles we've had, I mean, they'll continue. Making sure that we're able to serve all the students and families in our community. We see a lot of students that are dealing with lots of trauma away from school. Like a lot of that we have to deal with in school are things that are not even happening at school, but are happening at home or in the neighborhood. And it's important for us to partner with our community because we recognize as a school system, we can't do this work alone. We have to have community partners that come in and help us serve the needs of our students. And so we're going to continue working to build partnerships with folks in the community that can help us meet the very unique needs of our students.
You're in the business of giving out grades. How would you grade KCPS, let's just say over the last year? What kind of a grade would you give KCPS as a whole? So, on an A, B, C, D, F scale.
Okay, how would I grade us? Well, I think when you're grading, you have to look at progress as well as status, right? So there's a certain place you want to be, but then you have to look at how much have you grown from where you started? Are you constantly improving, working to meet that ultimate mark? And I would say as a school system, we're not where we want to be right now. When I look at the data, it's not where I would say I would want to land. Like when I leave Kansas City Public Schools, I have a mark where I want to see certain things. We're not quite there yet. So but based on our progress, how we're moving in that direction, I would place us at about a C. Okay, and I'm not a C student, so C is not okay with me.
But I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not where we want to be. But we're making progress toward that. So I would give the efforts that we've put in and the outcomes that we're seeing, the progress that we're seing, I would place us at about a C right now.
All right. Well, and with plenty of room to grow, and you're clearly on track to do that, or you're working toward that end. Dr. Collier, such a pleasure to meet you. Your energy and your optimism are infectious, and I can see how that goes over with students and staff and parents as well. So thank you for joining us today for On the Record.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And you can watch the full interview with Dr. Jennifer Collier at kctv5.com/ontherecord. You can also find it in the KCTV5 Plus app. Up next, it's every driver's nightmare when you're driving by a semi-truck, one of its 18 wheels blowing out while barreling down the road. Our national investigative team found the failures at the heart of many accidents and what companies are working on to prevent a deadly crash. Plus, no pain, no gain. See how one man's free window cleaning is helping a local business quadruple its sales.
You're watching Kansas City on the Record from KCTV5. Welcome back to Kansas City on the Record from KCTV5.
Whenever you hit the highway, there's a good chance you'll drive next to one of these big 18-wheelers. You're probably a lot more cautious driving around them because one mistake can be life-altering. The same can be true if their tires blow out, which isn't as uncommon as you might think. Our national investigative team is looking into the problem and what's being done to prevent it. Now, we do want to warn you, this report contains crash video from some dash cams. Here's senior investigative reporter Anna Werner.
On a July afternoon in 2023, this 18-wheeler drove east on a rural stretch of Interstate 40 in New Mexico. What happened next upended the life of a man some 1,200 miles away, Derek Walsh.
It took me weeks to process what had just happened.
Derek grew up in Indiana with his parents, Michael and Angela Walsh, and his younger sister, Jessica.
My parents really cared about me and my sister. They're just great people.
That July afternoon, his parents were driving his sister back to university from Indiana to Phoenix, Jessica bringing her dog named Galaxy. Derek, a firefighter, was in training in California when he was told to call a sheriff in New Mexico.
So they told you over the phone that your family,
Yes.
your entire family was gone?
Yes.
This video shows what happened as police said the 18-wheeler's left front tire had a blowout. The truck veered across the median, heading for the Walsh's car, hitting it head-on. His dad, Michael, mom, Angela, sister, Jessica, and even her dog, Galaxy, were killed. Our national investigative team found from 2021 through 2023, there were more than 200 large truck crashes reported nationwide, where tires were listed as causing or contributing to the accident, with 173 people dying in those crashes. Tires fail for various reasons. In the Walsh case, his attorneys allege in a lawsuit that the truck tire made by Goodyear failed because it was defective. Attorney Rob Ammons.
Suddenly, the tire separates inside as the vehicle's traveling down the highway at 70 miles per hour.
In court filings, Goodyear denied the tire was defective or dangerous in design and manufacturing. The company blamed truck operators for the tire being run in an overloaded and/or underinflated state and said the truck driver didn't keep the tire properly inflated. Videos of tire failure crashes show the speed with which a failure can happen and how drivers struggle to cope. The problem is especially dangerous when one of a truck's front two tires, called steer tires because they steer the truck in the direction the driver wants to go, blows out.
At 70 miles an hour, there's not much a human can do to keep that truck in that lane.
That's why drivers like Bobby Tassin Jr. are required to do a pre-trip inspection of components, including tires. Yet our investigative team found in 2024 and 2025 of all trucks pulled out of service, in other words, taken off the road by government roadside inspectors, tire problems were the #1 reason. And 84% of those violations cited flat, leaky, or underinflated tires. And Peter Kurdock with the nonprofit Advocates for Highway and Auto Safety points out those numbers only reflect the trucks inspectors actually examined.
It's a very small snapshot because a very small percentage of trucks are actually being inspected.
What's more, while tire pressure monitoring systems like these are mandatory for passenger cars and light trucks in the U.S., they are not required for large trucks, including 18-wheelers.
So the problem is likely much larger than what we're seeing.
No matter the cause, Derek Walsh's loss is immeasurable.
I've been attempting, to get back to some level of normalcy, but it's never going to be the same ever again.
Goodyear tells us it does not comment on pending litigation. In court filings, the trucking company denied responsibility for the crash and maintained there was no evidence of underinflation. The truck driver told us he couldn't comment. Federal authorities told us there is currently nothing underway to make tire pressure monitoring systems or automatic tire inflation systems mandatory in large trucks. Up next, a story which shows off the best of our community. The man opening up a window of opportunity for a local business, one squeegee at a time.
You're watching Kansas City on the Record from KCTV5.
A Kansas City man is making a big impact with just a squeegee. He cleans storefront windows for free and then puts those businesses in the spotlight online. KCTV5's Gianni Navarro shows us how one visit can change everything.
It started with one clean window. Davis Rosler co-owns Window Wolf. Over a month ago, he walked into Yayo's Bakery in Overland Park. He came for the cheesecake, but left behind an unexpected offer.
He offered to clean our windows for free after having a piece of cheesecake. And my wife was like, sure, why not? Thank you.
He cleaned their windows and posted their story online. What happened next? Neither of them saw coming.
Our sales are increasing tremendously from, I would say, 100 per day to 400.
Davis's small gesture changed everything for Pedro and his wife.
We thought we were going to be struggling maybe 1 or 2 years. It's a huge impact.
How we doing? Good to see you guys.
Now he's back, not for recognition or money, just to simply check in.
I didn't know that they 4x their customers. To me, that's crazy.
And just like the first time, he got to work, continuing to help the business shine. For Davis, this was always the point.
We wanted to be a community-first business.
He says behind every window he cleans is a story, and many of those businesses can't afford to tell it.
What's missing is the story behind the owner and the person and the magic behind the food.
So Davis tells it for them.
I think it's just such a small gesture that goes a long way.
His payment, the connections he builds.
Your friendship and the relationship we built is worth way more than whatever I would charge you to come clean your windows.
One visit, one story, one window at a time. In Overland Park, Gianni Navarro, KCTV5 News.
What a great story. If you have any story ideas about people doing good things around KCTV5, let us know by emailing heart@kctv5.com. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the top stories we're keeping an eye on this week.
Welcome back to Kansas City on the Record from KCTV5.
And we are back on the record with a look at the top stories we're keeping an eye on this week. We begin in Wyandotte County. A former detention officer charged with an inmate's murder will be in court tomorrow morning. Richard Fatherly is accused of killing Charles Adair. It happened while Adair was in the Wyandotte County Detention Center last summer for failing to appear in court for traffic violations. Fatherly is accused of kneeling on Adair's back while trying to restrain him. An autopsy report says Adair died of suffocation. Fatherly is charged with second-degree murder. He's never been taken into custody. He will appear in front of a judge tomorrow for a preliminary hearing, and that's slated to start at 9 in the morning. Turning to Kansas City, where the city will celebrate Fountain Day Wednesday. It's a spring tradition that marks the moment when fountains across the city are turned on for the season, and they'll stay on through mid-October. Also in Kansas City, the stars will be out for this year's Bra Couture. The high-fashion runway show features cancer survivors as models as they raise money for uninsured or underinsured patients. It'll be held inside the Kansas City Convention Center's Grand Ballroom, and it's raised more than $5 million over the past 14 years. KCTV5's Carolina Cruz and Bill Hurlbrink will host the event. On Saturday, you can catch a glimpse of the FIFA World Cup trophy before a single match is played in Kansas City. The trophy tour will make a stop at the Power and Light District Saturday and Sunday. It'll be open to the public on 14th and Grand from noon to 8. Tickets are free. And that's a wrap for us here on Kansas City on the Record. We hope to see you at the same time next week. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thanks for watching Local Live KCTV 5. Stay connected with KCTV 5 Plus. To live stream, watch previous newscasts, and get first warn weather. Just search KCTV on Roku TV, Apple TV, and Fire TV.